All right. This is probably the most special episode I have ever done in my life for the Blackamore podcast or any podcast I've ever been a part of, host or guest. Because I got the most special guest in the world, Coeta Blackamore Hampton, BKA to me,
What that stand for?
better known as Mama. How we doing today, Mama?
Hello. Doing well. Thank you.
My mom was a registered nurse. She's a liver transplant coordinator, a teacher, a mentor, and author.
Not yet. He's speaking unto existence.
She started writing the book, right?
I started it.
Hey, here we go. So, how you feeling, first of all?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show, Shane.
Thanks for having me in the world.
It's an honor to be here, but it's especially an honor to be here because today I'm celebrating my 61st birthday.
Hey, give it up for Mommy, y'all. 61. How's it feel to be here on your 61st birthday? How does turning 61 feel, if anything at all?
Well, in my mind, mentally, I feel great. I feel great. I don't feel 61. 61 is a lot of years. But actually, at the same time, it's not a lot of years. But I feel like I can do anything. But when I go to do anything, like I believe I can run down the street, and my body be like, "Get back here! What you think you're doing?"
Yeah, we all relate to that. We all
Yeah.
relate to that. When would you say, and the moment could be right now, when do you think you last felt like 100% like yourself? You know, life could have you feeling crazy.
Hmm. Well, each and every day we hopefully are evolving. So, what do you mean, like myself?
Well, you never just, I guess you never felt like, I don't know. I really don't know how to word it outside of that. Like, I guess, so like, for example, with me, my answer to that may be, well, the first image that comes to mind is me drawing. Like when I used to draw back in the day, draw them pictures.
Mm.
That's when I last felt 100% like myself, like before the world corrupts you and stuff.
I think I'm still trying to find myself because, I had 4 children and I have 4 children. And once you have kids, your life is no longer your
Yeah.
own. And so it's been, I think, 4 years since I've been an empty nester. And so I'm still trying to find the old Coeta, what brings or what has brought me joy. And so I'm still figuring that out and I'm still exploring. Creativity, being creative is what brings me joy. And so, I like to reupholster furniture. So I do that, photography, and just mentoring the younger generation. So yeah, I'm beginning to get more involved back into that because that's what I used to do prior to y'all kids.
Before we came and messed everything up.
Like Sinbad said, I was cool. Yeah. I had some kids and they messed you up.
They messed you up.
So yeah.
So as we think back over the last 360 days of your life, basically last year, what's been the most exciting moment or fulfilling moment? Would you say?
Hmm. He's asking me hard questions because I don't know if I can remember what I was doing last year. um, this may just seem so simple, so silly, but for my 60th birthday, my daughter took me to Cancun, Mexico, and I swam in the ocean. And that's a big deal for me, you guys, because when I get in the water, my feet has to touch the ground and the water has to be above my head. But I took a leap of faith and I went out there and I swam in the ocean and I swam with dolphins. So yeah.
How did it feel in that moment? Like how'd you feel inside?
I felt free. I felt good.
Free.
Yeah, like I felt a good sense of accomplishment. And because I did that, that was like getting over one of my big fears of being in a big body of water with my feet is not touching the ground. So I built on that and started stepping out and doing more different things.
So when we was on the way here, we was talking about, as you said, like, it's crazy. We go through these different stages and nobody ever skips a stage. so,
Yeah.
so as a mom who has raised four kids and, none of us got no criminal records besides one of us, but we don't have to say who.
It is not really a criminal record.
Nah, it was for good.
It was for a good cause.
None of us crazy. We've all turned out fairly ostensibly okay. I guess what advice would you give for parents like in the middle of it right
Um, well, first of all, to have patience and don't put each child, if you have more than one children, don't put them both in the same category because they all individual, and try to find what that child niche is and try to build and encourage them. Um, Also to be very involved. I say it's two things: to be totally involved in their lives, and then number two is exposure. Try to expose your children to as many things as possible, because they say, what the lack of knowledge, the
now?
people will perish. So you know, get them on a plane as soon as possible so they can fly and learn how to travel. I didn't take my first flight, kind of embarrassed to say, until I was like 34 years old, was the very first time that I was on an airplane. I didn't know what turbulence was. And so when the plane experienced turbulence, I'm screaming, and I'm the only fool on the plane screaming. So then I look around and say, "Oh, this must be normal." So when I got back home, I said, "Well, my kids is not gonna be unexposed like I was." So I immediately booked us a flight, and we all took a vacation. I think he was probably 12.
Was that the Vegas?
Yep, that was when we went to Vegas, and my youngest was 5. So then, therefore,
Yeah, that was
something
so
like that.
four.
Yeah, and so and so my kids been traveling ever since. They've been out the country. My youngest one, well, at the time, when Keon was a senior in high school, rather he graduated, he traveled all the way to Africa by himself. But I knew he was able to do it because I saw him knowing how to read his tickets, how to read the kiosk board. But so that's why I say expose them to as many things as possible that you're able to at a very young age.
And so a lot of times, parents like to parent on like you figure you didn't travel like that, you wasn't exposed like that, so you want to give us what you didn't have.
Mm.
Sometimes when parents do that, they they kind of do it like in a toxic way sometimes, or do it even against the child's will. How do you think he was able to navigate not, I guess, like being overbearing, doing that the right way?
Well, would you say I had many conversations with you guys ahead of time and try to prepare you?
You said, would I say that we had this conversation?
Yeah, because I think I try to communicate a lot of things to you guys ahead of time, instead of just throwing you out there. So I think having communication, talking to them ahead of time, and another thing is, as far as college education, um, every parent want their child to go to college and to succeed. So what I did, I made just a conversation of college at our everyday dinner table, so you can know that's the norm. That is not something extra, but it's the norm that right after high school you go to college. And so I think since I had that conversation from knee high all the way up, then that's what you guys did.
Yeah. So let's try to remove the mom hat. It's hard for me to do because you're my mom. So all my questions are mom, parent, son, mom questions. Um, yeah. So let's take away mom. Let's even take away the career. Who is Coeta?
That's a good question. Hmm. Because I had to find, I pretty much didn't figure out who Coeta was until I was well an adult, because growing up, you did what your elders told you to do. You know, we didn't question it or say not, and that is not for everybody. Everything's not 100%, but whatever your parents or your elders told you to do, you just do it and you didn't question it. So I think I didn't like develop my own way of thinking because I did what people told me
Mm.
to do. Whereas this new generation, they question it, they research it, so they didn't go against who they were
Mm.
or are, and so
How common do you think that's common generation to generation?
I think each generation is different. Yeah.
Uh, well, you know, I'm interested in the book. What it is, and I know, of course, you're not done with it, but just from what you have so far, an idea of the book and how you want to come across so far, what do you think you want the biggest takeaway from your book to be, at least as it stands right now? Of course, it could change
Yeah. To know that whatever you're been through or going through, that you're not the only person and you're not alone. And then hopefully, what I want the biggest takeaway is for my story to give someone the encouragement to tell their story so it can help another individual along the way who may have had similar experiences. So yeah.
later. So you said have your story, encouraging people to share their stories to help others. When I guess what moment did you I guess like kind of discover that insight? Like when did that moment become when did that become important to
When I was a freshman in college, and the reason why I say that is because a part of this scholarship program that I was in, I had to take their classes, and one of the classes was a humanity class, and we had to write an autobiography about ourselves. And back then, I felt like my story wasn't interesting. Who wants to hear what I got to say? So I just wrote a little bit about my life stories, whatever. And my professor was pretty impressed with by it, which I was surprised because I didn't think I did anything big or whatever. But and then so he told me it should be a book, and he also asked my permission if he can use my story to teach the upcoming freshmen, to use as part of the class and talk about.
you? Mm. No, when I came to that realization,
Mm-mm.
I was riding with you. We was over there by St. Richard's, about to come home, and you had said that it said somewhere in the Bible, like if you know something that can help somebody, it's like a sin to not put it out into
Yeah,
the world.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So there's what school was this?
You know.
You don't know. So there's a class of people getting educated and inspired off of your material.
Mm.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what class that is? Like the year?
Yeah, well, tell my age. Why are they tell my age?
Uh,
What year was that? I was 25.
hmm. How has it been even writing the book? I'm sure it was not as easy as just I'm gonna start it Monday and write every day until it's done. Peaks and valleys of inspiration, or how would you describe the experience?
Actually, so back then, um, it was easy because all you gotta do is tell your story. You lived it, so that was easy. And I went from beginning to finish. I don't know. I think I probably did it in a day or two. But now, I want to add to it and build on it. Again, the stories are there. So, like, once I pick up the pen and put it to paper, I can write, but sometimes it's just hard to get started. But once I start, yeah. And I'm not one to um, do it on a computer or whatever. I'm a pen and paper girl.
Better that way anyway. I want to come back to the book, but you mentioned it was your professor when you was in college, and we was also talking about providing experiences and inspiring kids to have what you didn't have. And I guess I got a cheat code to your life because I kind of know your story. But what would you say inspires you the most to go to college, given your upbringing?
Hmm. You?
Me, really?
When I had you, because what I had you in 1987, right? And well, look, guys, minimum wage back then was three $3.37, right? And then I got this job, and I was making $6.50 an hour. So you
doubled your pay.
couldn't tell me I wasn't making no money. Shoot, who need college with $6.50 an hour? But then I became a mom, and I had you, and I was working at that place for $6.50 for 3 years without no raise, and I'm like, look, this ain't gonna work. I got this baby here. Um, I had to do something, make something better for both of us, as a family, so I can provide.
What do you think was college? Would you say college was the first idea? Because sometimes we can get into situations and we have a bunch of ideas to get money, and they may not always be the best ideas.
At that time, college was the first idea because college education is a career. And so if it, with a career, you can always find around the same salary. Whereas a job, you may get lucky to get a high paying job and then you may not. But at least I know if I had a career, it's stable, and I can, wherever I work, it's going to be around the same
Okay, so now kind of coming back to the book. As it stands right now, what's the name?
Right now, it is called I Had to Die in Order for Me to Live.
And what's the inspiration behind that title? Or the story behind that title?
The story behind that title is 3 years ago, I had, well, first of all, in 2019, I lost both my parents 31 days apart, my mom first, and then 31 days later, my dad. And that was life changing by itself. And usually, when there's death in the family, there's always some family drama. So there was a little rift in the family. And then 2 years after losing my parents, I had to have open heart surgery myself. And with this particular open heart surgery, they had to like stop my heart. And if your heart ain't beating, you're dead, literally, metaphorically. But I was on this heart lung machine that did the beating for me. And so to really think about it, okay, you going back to the family, everybody kind of going their different ways, and there was some things said, and there's like some unforgiveness. And so when you don't forgive, it's like your heart is hardened. The Bible tells you harden not your heart. And so my surgery consists of replacing my aortic valve because it had became stiff, and because it was stiff, it's not opening and closing to allow the blood to flow in and out like it was supposed to. So on the spiritual side, you know, I had to kill that unforgiveness in order to open up my heart so I can live again. Because they say forgiveness is not really it's forgiving the other person, but it's really for you so you can move on. Okay. And so each day I had to like die to that, even though, things didn't happen. I had to like let it go authentically, just let it go in order so I can live. And then on the natural side, my valve had to be replaced with a more pliable valve, the kind that's easily open and closed so it's no longer stiff. And so that's why I said I had to die metaphorically and literally in order to live.
That story sounds literally like the verse Ezekiel 36:26 to 27. I don't know if you know it, but basically, God was like, I'll give you a new heart and a new spirit, and I'll take that stony heart out of you and give you a heart of flesh.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
So,
he did just that. Yeah.
Like, exactly word for word. Yeah. Wow. So first of all, walk us through your open heart surgery experience. Because that's
Uh,
not nothing everybody go through every day.
no. So it was totally unexpected, really, for because like I had been taking care of my parents probably literally about 2 years before they expired, and so my life was just working and my parents, working and my parents. So I was so busy taking care of them and doing and working my own 9 to 5 job that I wasn't listening or paying attention to my own body. So I didn't really realize how sick I was. And I was a little short of breath going upstairs, but not going up the steps, but I contributed that to a little weight gain. So, and so I had planned a trip with some friends, and we all was going to go to Dubai. And I was very excited about this trip. I bought my ticket. We had booked our hotel room and everything. And then, I started. I'd be at work working, and I could hear my heartbeat in my ear,
Really?
which is kind of weird. And I was telling my coworker next to me, I said, I hear my heart in my ears, and it's getting on my nerves.
Trying to get your attention.
Yeah. I said, it's really getting on my nerves. So she came over to me and she yelled at my chest, talking about, shut up. So we were just being silly. So I decided to just go to the doctor just to get myself checked out. And they did a echo. He listened to it and heart said, "Oh, you have a big murmur." And then I got an echocardiogram, and then I was they was watching it like every 6 months, and then it got to the point that it was like really almost closed, and they said I could have had sudden death. I mean, I could have just dropped dead.
Drop dead.
Mm-hmm. And so they wanted to book me for surgery. My surgery, I believe, was April 14th, and my Dubai trip was like April 12th. So I said, "Well, do you think I can go to Dubai?" I asked my cardiologist, "You think I can go to Dubai?" Because I really wanted to go on this trip. And one of them said, "Well, yeah, you can go, but make sure you take your cardiologist with you."
Right.
So who can just do that? So instead of going, I had my.
So that was around April 12th, you say?
I think it was like
That's interesting because that's when I started my journey. April 12th through April 14th was the fast.
Oh, really? Yeah.
History repeats itself and
Don't
everything.
it? Yeah.
So yeah, you can't go to the trip now unless you can take your cardiologist with you, which apparently wasn't an option. That's when he said you could basically drop dead at any moment. Like, did you get scared?
I didn't feel like this stuff was real. Because for one, I just basically, because usually when I go to the doctor, everything is fine, right? And I did not anticipate or expect that I needed life-saving heart surgery. Because so I'm like hearing these words, but it's not really resonating with me. Like, is this really for real? I'm going through the motion because the doctor's telling me to, but it still's not sinking in, you know. And then I think I had a group conversation, not a Zoom call, but conference call with all of y'all kids to tell you about it. But you was here in Omaha, or you came here because remember you was here and the other kids had to fly in. Yeah. So yeah.
When, if ever, did it kick in? Like, oh, this is real. Did that ever happen before the surgery? I'd like to think.
I don't think it really did. I'm just still going through the motion.
Even to this day?
Even to this day. And I look and see my scar every day. And it's hard to believe that I went. So Keon, my son, took pictures of me, when I had the tubes in and all that. So it's kind of hard to believe that I actually went through all that because I only spent 4 or 5 days. I think it was 5 days in the hospital. The hospital staff was pretty shocked, that I recovered that quickly. Um, Wonderful hospital staff that took care of me. I sailed through my cardiac rehab. Post I was supposed to have done I think 12 weeks, only did 6, and I went back to work after 6 weeks.
Well, before the 12 weeks was over, you was back at work.
I was back at work full time.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Okay. So since then, when did like the thought hit? I'm gonna name my book after this
Actually, the title of that book came um, 2 years ago when I was like really thinking about what I went through, like being on the heart lung machine, because I think they call them perfusionists in the hospital. If they didn't hook that up right, I wouldn't be living.
event.
So,
Shout out to the staff.
yeah, because they have to,
Was
like,
this at UNMC?
yeah, on Nebraska medicine. Um, they have to hook that up right. Otherwise,
It's a wrap.
it's a wrap. And then when surgery, if you think about it, when surgery is done, they shock your heart back so it can beat again. Normally, there's possibility that they can shock it and it don't
It don't
restart.
work.
So,
How? Uh,
and then um, hold your thought because my thoughts leave. I'm 61. um, and then so going back to forgiveness, with a certain family member, there was times that I thought that I totally forgave, but when something resurfaces,
you realize,
then
yeah.
it triggers me. Then I realized that total forgiveness wasn't there, and so I had to pray about it, fast about it. Um, I did that continuously until I can tell that it was gone. So, like I said, I had to kill that each and every
Mm,
day. Yeah,
wow.
and so that's why I said I had to die in order to live.
When you was in the hospital, when I remember seeing you in some of those moments, and you was in a lot of pain. Was you even like how aware or conscious was you? Did you have time to feel anything during that time? Was you too in pain, or what was that like?
To tell you the truth, I wasn't in a lot of pain. I was uncomfortable, but I wasn't in a lot of pain because I remember waking up and they still had the breathing tube in me, in my mouth, in my throat, and I think you and Keon was in the room with me, and I heard them call my name. So when I woke up, so when you're intubated, where the machine breathes for you, well, since I was woke, I was trying to breathe naturally on my own, but it was like fighting against the machine. So I remember writing y'all a letter or note saying, I feel like I'm suffocating. You remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why they took the tube out. So when they took the tube out, and I'm a nurse, you guys, and so they tell you, you should get your patients up and let them walk every day. That prevents pneumonia from happening or blood clots in their leg. Well, this one person, I'm sure she had to serve in the military because they just pulled my breathing tube out, and she told me to sit up on the side of the bed and put my own uh, gown on. And I said, but the doctor told me not to raise my arms over my head. She said, put this gown on. I'm like, yes, ma'am. So
And you was able to do it?
I was able to do it.
Yeah, she said it ain't gonna kill you.
I'm still here.
uh, this might be a weird question. This is how my weird brain works. Do you? Because you said you got to continue to pray and fast for the forgiveness to kind of cleanse it out. Do you feel like you would have been able to do that without having the open heart
Yeah,
surgery?
yeah, yeah. Eventually, but it was just the timing of the two. The time, okay, like I had my surgery 2 years after my parents, and it took me about 2 years
Mm,
to reach a total forgiveness.
mm,
Yeah.
okay.
But yeah, but I accepted Christ in my life when I was 10 years old. So there's a God, and I know He can do all things. Uh, with His help, I eventually get there, but I knew I'll be able to because of God.
Yeah. I asked because in that scripture, the Ezekiel 36:26, he says he'll do all that if you. He said you have to. Can't remember word for word, but basically, he said you got to put yourself in a position for me to help you. Like I can't just help you just because you say something. Like do what you got to do, and then I use it as a catalyst. So I just wonder if that maybe sped up the process or was a catalyst to it or made it happen faster or something.
The heart surgery?
Mm-hmm.
No, I just think the timing was.
Have you added any extra content to the book since updating the title, or even have maybe if you haven't literally added content, but like have any I guess like lessons that you got inspired that you know you want to put in there that
Uh,
wasn't in there before?
yeah, but I'm not sharing it.
Not sharing it? Why
No,
not?
not right now. I have some ideas and stuff I want to add to it.
What can you share from the book? Those lessons, Benny. Just gotta wait till it come out.
You just have to ask me a question, then I can tell you. On top of my head, I don't know.
Mm. Let's see. You said you've been an empty nester. It's been 4 years, and you said you was kind of starting to find yourself again. What's the most cool part of yourself you've discovered since then? And maybe you wasn't even aware of before.
Hey, I know I've always been cool, and I know I've always been goofy, but it seems like I'm able to laugh more. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm finding. I don't know if it's just my age or what, but I'm learning, or I have learned not to take life so seriously, because when people say life is short, and it really is. So I don't get upset over things. I'm pretty chill about it, and then I try to find humor in almost anything. So I don't know, people think I'm crazy or what. um,
Well, is there a question that you wish more people asked you?
I don't really think there's a question that I think more people ask me, but I wish people wouldn't read my face. Because what you call it, a RBF?
Uh,
I think I have a RBF face, and I think people misread me because a lot of people think I look mean, and I'm really not mean. I just look that way.
See, I get it from my mama. We go through the same thing. Okay. Is there? They say you know, it's not a question you could think of. And let's say we finished the book. Let's say you finished the book and you put it out and it's successful. What would be, or let's say you don't finish the book. Let's say you change your mind. What would be the next chapter you think in your life?
Right now, I'm all about peace and fun.
Peace and fun.
Peace and fun.
What's that look like for you exactly?
No drama. Drama free. If I see drama coming my way, I'm pivoting, doing a bow face. Um, Anybody coming to this house, you got to bring no drama. It's all peace, peace, love, and happiness. Um, Traveling, just fulfilling nice, fun things. And traveling is one. I've been to Paris, Germany, Amsterdam, um, Greece.
Which one of those trips has been the most like eye opening or maybe culture shock or
Mm, I tell you, I really loved Greece. Those people over there are fantastic. The most eye opening to me was Paris, because well, number one, I never been in a place where English was not the primary language, or even when I went to a foreign country like Mexico, whatever, there's still people who spoke
something.
English. There was very few of my encounters where people spoke
Mm-hmm.
English, and so I said, "Well, dang, I really am in a foreign country." Oh yeah. And so the time that I went, um, the I think they call them prime ministers. They don't call them presidents. Whatever the president is over there, wanted to raise their retirement age there. So therefore, there was a lot of rioting, protests, a lot of protests going on, and that was kind of scary because I didn't understand the language, and some parts of the city was shut down. And one night, Yakira and I got stuck in a part of town that was shut down, and this is late at night, and the transportation wasn't running. So that was kind of scary. because I don't know the rules and regulations over there. And then also the sanitation department was on strike, so they had trash built up. But it reminded me of being in New York, so
Y'all
that
sure
was a
took the
sim.
time to visit.
I know. But otherwise, the food was good. The food was good. The museum, the Louvre Museum, was excellent. So we had a good time despite those things. Oh yeah.
What would you say was the scariest moment of your life, and how did you overcome
I had plenty of those. What age do you want me to go to?
it? Mm-hmm. Whichever one come to mind first, I guess.
I guess the earliest scary moment in my life, I think I was like 4 years old. I think I told you this story recently. We went swimming at Gallagher's swimming pool, and I was just walking along the edge. Somebody was running to jump in the water, and when they was running to jump in the water, they knocked me into the pool with them. For didn't know how to swim. I don't even know what feet of water I was knocked into, and I couldn't bring myself to stay afloat. I know I came up, went back down, came up, went back down, came up, went back down, and I came up the fourth time. Someone grabbed me. Somebody must have saw me, and they took me out the pool. So that was my very first scariest one. And so to this day, that's why I said I don't stand up. I don't get in no water that's above my head. So that's why last year for my 60th birthday, when I swam in the pool, that was a big accomplishment for me.
What is there a season in your life you feel like you was the most vulnerable or lost or in life?
All throughout life. Probably my teenage years.
Teenage, the specific year or the whole teenage time?
I don't know, child. Teenage years was so many years ago. Um, yeah.
So what that put us back in like 1980
or late 70s.
So if you could look back to the Coeta back in 1978, 1979, what would you tell her so she won't be so lost maybe?
So child, it's okay. The world out there is scary, but it's not as scary. So go out there, travel, see the world. You should have went to college outside your state. I was just a scary cat. I was scared of everything. I wanted to stay close to home. So yeah, I would have told myself to take more risk in life and just go out there and explore and learn.
Whoever needed to hear that, I hope that resonated with you. I think as we start to wrap it up, because I don't want us to go and then the camera turn off on us because I'm not certain how much space is left. But do you have any closing remarks or anything you want to make sure the people know before we close this out?
Yeah, so life is for living. So don't be afraid to do it. Whatever your dreams are, go for it. Try it no matter how small it is. Go for it. Martin Luther King once said, "You take the first step. You may not see the whole staircase, but just take the first step." And people say you only have one life to live. Actually, you have each day that you wake up is another life that you're living. So you die once, but you live more than just once. So yeah.
That was nice. I need that one. All right. Best interview ever with my mom. I hope this helps somebody out there. I hope this inspires somebody out there. Don't be scared. Share your stories. And until next time, peace.
Bye. I didn't record.